catches. Hey. Alright, cool. Alright, so Brickfront Properties, we're doing a training session on how to locate properties for a property locator program. I don't know if the voice is gonna pick up. But anyway, we're just gonna go over some of the stuff here. Okay. If it catches, it catches. So first thing is, let's do this. Okay, there's a lot of these websites. Okay, there's a lot of free tools and websites. So I mean, like most people that are trying to get into real estate, they don't have money, and they don't know where to begin.
Right.
So the part of this program is where we give you enough resources, websites, tools, so you can begin. Okay, so like a lot of this stuff here is free. Okay, like the 411.com. These are how you could find people. Okay, a lot of times people will abandon their properties. So when let's say they bought the property at the peak of the market tanked, and they may pay $300, and now the property is worth $150. A lot of times they just got it removed.
Right.
Okay. So we have to be able to find them. Right. So these particular tools and websites here allow you to do that, where it's kind of almost like skip tracing. So the way you're gonna end up making money in this thing is without any money, is to do wholesaling.
Right.
Okay, and so the way you go about doing that is finding motivated sellers that need to sell for whatever reasons. They might be going through a divorce, they may have lost a job, something might have died, whatever the case is, but they had to sell their property.
Right.
So once you identify a property in your neighborhood, within your community, and you know that it's just been sitting there for like 3 months, 6 months, you see the grass growing, you see nobody's been attending to it, you could pick up the address, right? You could go to Google. You could put in anything in Google these days, and it'll tell you about some information about the property.
Right.
And then from there, you got to find out, okay, who owns it. Sometimes a lot of these REO properties will have a name of an agent and you just call the agent and say, hey, how much you selling this property for? Can we get inside, look at it? Okay. Now, even though you don't have any money, now agents have gotten smart these days. So they're not just basically talking to anybody off the street. They want to make sure you can get qualified. So they're going to actually get pre-qualified and things like that. So, but what you do is you tell them you work for Brickfront Properties, okay, and that Brickfront Properties is going to get qualified. So your job is to go out there and locate properties. So you're basically out and looking at 5, 6, 7, 10, 12 of these homes a week. Like I said, you look at the walls, you look at the floors, you look at the space. How can you make the space better? Maybe just leave the space the way it is. What can you do to the house to make it, current, modern, right? So that's what we did this morning, is look at a property and say, okay, this property here is going to take $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. And once you find the homeowner, let's say you sit down with the homeowner, you're like, hey, you got a house on 123 Main Street in Fairfax. You, according to the tax records, you own it. What do you want to do with it? Oh, I don't want it no more because of whatever reasons. Okay, well then, we may want to buy it if we could come to some sort of arrangement. So then what we do is we look at it. If the house needs $20,000 or $30,000 or $40,000 repairs, and let's say the going neighborhood is like a 250, 280 neighborhood, then you want to be able to work backwards and say, look, we'll offer you $80,000 or we'll offer you $90,000. And then that's how we're going to be able to get some of these properties that are private properties that are not in the system. Then if we could get him to agree to that, then we basically, if it has a mortgage on it, then we have to start doing like a short sale. So you can do a short sale with the lender, and you get the homeowner to sign like a authorization saying, I give you authorization on my behalf to talk to Wells Fargo or PNC or whoever the bank is that's holding that note. And so when you call that bank and you say, hey, I'm working with John Jones on 123 Main Street, They've moved out. You know, the property is in bad condition. I went to looked at it, and then you have like an estimate repair. You're like, here's an estimate, needs 40,000. Somebody ripped out all the plumbing. Somebody ripped out the condenser. The carpet is bad, there's mold, or whatever the case is. You build a history of your repairs, and then you go to the bank and say, look, guys, you know, we feel like we could offer you 40, 70, 80,000, whatever the number is for that property. If it's in a D neighborhood, like we were talking earlier, then you're gonna be able to buy them for less, 50, 60, 70,000. If it's in a better neighborhood, like a C plus neighborhood, then you're gonna pay 110, 140, 150. If it's in a B neighborhood, then you're gonna pay 180, 200, 225. And if it's an A neighborhood, you may pay 4, 5, 600,000. Right? We're staying away from A properties. We're staying away from B properties unless we get them for a good price. We could afford. And most of the activity that's moving is in the C neighborhoods, right? So properties that are $1 million, 1.2, 800,000, 900, they're sitting, because a lot of people today are not able to buy those homes, because the banks have made things so tight for so many of the buyers that you got to put up 20%. So if you buy a $1 million property, that's $200,000. How many people are sitting on $200,000? So that's why a lot of these larger properties are sitting. So that's why we want to go where the sweet spot is, which is, you know, between 200,000 to 350,000. That's the sweet. That's where things are moving. People are in there buying stuff, selling stuff. Things are happening. And plus, like I was saying earlier, if you got a husband and a wife, and they're both bringing in 50 to 60,000, they could afford 250, 280, 300,000. You see, but most people today, they're lucky if they even got a job. If they have a job, and they have 1 or 2 kids, then they're also looking at the kids' upbringing. So they don't want to put them in a D neighborhood. They want to put them in a C minus, C plus, you know, B neighborhood. So you want to look at all those things. Well, these websites here allows you to find and locate some of these people as they have just abandoned the properties and they left, they moved out, and you could kind of skip trace and find them. Okay. This other website here, this page here, every real estate investor, you have to have some sort of website. Just a basic, simple website. It's like a business card these days. Okay, first thing, when you tell somebody you have a company, they want to know, okay, cool, what's your address? They want to Google you. They want to pull your information up. They want to see if you got a Facebook, a Twitter. Who are you? Why should I do business with you? You know, what is your credibility, right? And the website gives you credibility. So when you go to people and they say they're business owners and they don't have a website, you're like, oh, it's kind of like, are you really a business? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then when people say, oh, hey, check out my website, you're like, oh, okay. So you have a different outlook on that person than the person that says, oh, I don't have a website.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then there's some people out there believe it, they still don't have email addresses. You know, and how can you run a business today without an email and you want me to fax everything? You see? So here are tools and websites. Now these companies actually do real estate investment websites. They are real estate investors themselves. So when they create these websites, they create them in the mindset of a real estate investment client. Okay, so some are nominal fees, like this one don't have a setup fee, this one's got a $395 setup fee, $39 a month. But they basically give you like a free domain to register the domain. They give you 10 pages of websites. So, you know, this has an interactive video where the video comes on and talks and stuff like that. So I would suggest that you, over time, not like now, but over time, come up with the name, like, you know, Genesis is your company's name, right? So just you come up with a name that's catchy, like Genesis Investments, or, you know, Genesis REO, Genesis Foreclosure, but be creative, because you got to think with Google, the way Google works, we're trying to get your SEO, your ratings up.
Right.
So your domain name
Has to be related to what it was.
like a keyword or like a
Right.
key phrase or something. So if you do Genesis or real estate investors websites or Genesis real estate, do something with investment, do something with the word real estate, do something with the word like REO or foreclosures, do something with a word that has high rankings.
Right.
So if your website has that, and then your content within the body has that, and your blogs has the similar words, then it's going to pull you up. The rankings is going to pull you up. So, that's just, some people don't know about that. But so try to get a website. And these people, you don't need to teach them and tell them on really what to do. They pretty much know this is all they do is website for investors. So you may want to call them over time when you get some money, and just start talking to them and just start feeling them out, see who's good, who's bad, and figure out which one you want to go with. Okay? And then like here, this right here, you don't know about construction. Most people don't know about rehab budgets, right? So here are like websites here that you could go in there and you could put in, like you could put in a living room 16 by 18. You could put in a bedroom 10 by 10. You could put in a basement 12 by 12. And it'll calculate for you like how much drywall you need, how much carpet you need. I was telling you an example about a window. To replace a window is like $300 a window. So if you got 10 windows in the house, that's $3,000. If you got a bad furnace, yank it out, that's like $6,000. You got a bad water heater, if it's gas, that's gonna be more. If it's electric, it's gonna be less. All these things, you kind of go over it, property after property after property, because they all got the same thing.
Right.
It's just different layout. Every house is the same thing, it's just different layout. Like every car is the same thing, but just a different layout. Same thing with the house. So here you have like Excel spreadsheets. You can plug in like 44 Castleton Drive, Upper Marlboro, Maryland. You plug the property address in. You just start bedroom number 1, bedroom number 2, bedroom number 3, bedroom number 4. Every bedroom needs a new door, new closet door, new light. Need this, need blinds, whatever. Then it says, okay, bedroom number 1 is going to cost you $1,300. Bedroom number 2 is going to cost you $1,200. So you have like a layout. So therefore, when you are looking at your purchase price, you want to make sure your purchase price and your rehab budget and your exit are in line. Because if your rehab budget is going to be too big, then that's going to have an impact right on your purchase price. And then that's going to have an impact on your sales.
Right.
So you can lose money too.
Yeah.
So real estate, you can make a lot of money, but you'll also lose a lot of money. So the biggest thing is when you're looking at the foundation of the house to see if there's any cracks, if there's water getting inside the house. Because if that's the case, then you got to dig all the way down and away from the house and come up and put somebody down in that hole and clean up that wall and figure out where the water's getting into the house. And sometimes you got to repurge the whole entire foundation and bring it back up. Okay, and then put dirt back in. That could be pretty costly.
Yeah.
Right. And so the other thing is like the main drain pipe, the 4, 5, 6 inch drain pipe that goes where all your toilets are connected and your showers are connected and your drain lines are connected. Well, that goes underground to the street sewer.
Right.
So you are responsible from the curb to your house. So that whole pipe underground and goes into your house is your responsibility. So a lot of times when you get to some of these older homes that are built in the 60s and the 70s and the 40s and the 30s, that cast iron pipe that's underground is either shifted or cracked, or sometimes if there's a big tree next to it, then you got the roots that kind of grab around the pipe and bust the pipes open. I got pictures. I had to replace these goddamn pipes. That ain't no joke. You got to dig the whole ground up. And sometimes the pipe could be 18 feet deep.
Wow.
Or 9 feet deep. Or, depends on where you are.
Yeah.
So you got to dig all the way down. And if the pipe, if your house is here, and that could be like 60, 70, 80 feet. And then you got to figure out. Now, I've called like Roto-Rooter,
Mm-hmm.
they have a snake. They run a snake down there,
Mm-hmm.
and it's got a camera, like a screen.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a little light on the end, so it kind of goes through the drain, and you can kind of see where the clog is,
Okay.
and you can see where the crack is.
Mm-hmm.
So if you know from where you did the open to the end, it's like 180 square feet, and then you run the snake in there, and the snake is, it kind of goes around, so the pipe is around,
Mm-hmm.
so it kind of looks around the pipe and goes around.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't see anything until like 70, 80 feet, because it'll measure how far the snake is going in there,
Okay.
and then you say, okay, here's a crack. You can see like limbs or dirt or something,
Mm-hmm.
but that's a major repair too. Okay, so some of these things, like in this particular house, I wasn't able to test that because they all took the pipes out, so we can't turn the water on.
Right.
The house will get flooded.
Yeah.
So, but we just gotta, once we get the pipes put together, and then we turn the water back on, we'll test for leaks to make sure there's no leaks.
Mm-hmm.
And then you flush like the toilet, you flush the tub, you flush everything. You see how fast the water drains out.
Mm-hmm.
If the water is like draining out, but you gotta let it run for like 30, 40 minutes, okay? But then if the water starts coming back up, like in the tub, it starts coming in the tub,
Mm-hmm.
then you know you got a clog,
Mm-hmm.
okay? So at that time, you can do two things. Call Roto-Rooter, have them come out there, find out where the crack is in the line, okay? Sometimes it's just debris, like human hair or dirt, whatever, just clogged up. Sometimes they have these little heads that go in there, zzz, and vibrate and shake everything loose.
Yeah.
And then you take a water hose, you stick it in there, you just open up the water, and you try to flush it out.
Right.
Try to flush whatever's out on the other end.
Mm-hmm.
So that, I've done that too, and that actually saved me thousands of dollars
Right.
from, digging all the way down to get to the source.
Right.
Okay? So just little things like that. Yeah, but these things will come to you over time.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just going to come to you naturally. This is, 20 years of stuff I'm telling you about. So it's just going to come to you over time. But these websites will give you a good idea
Mm-hmm.
of what type of rehab budget you're looking at. Is it going to be 30 or is it going to be 60 or is it going to be 70?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now also if the house is bigger, so if the house has 3 levels, so let's say you have all the bedrooms on the 3rd level, you have the living room, dining room, kitchen area, then you got the basement area.
Yeah.
Well, the larger the house, and if the house is in bad condition, that means more drywall,
Mm-hmm.
more carpet, more paint, more labor, more rehab costs. The smaller the house, it's going to be less cost,
Right.
right? And then so you got to look at that too, because like I looked at a house that was 3 levels, the fire sprinkler system busted.
Mm-hmm.
So these new homes got the sprinkler system throughout with the little shower heads.
Yeah.
Well, over the winter months, the pipes have water in there, and
And
they
they-
froze and they
they bust.
popped.
Yeah.
And therefore, the whole bedroom area upstairs and the living room, dining room area all just sank in. Mold everywhere, right? So I looked at this house, I said, okay, well, I can rebuild it. It was in a $400,000 neighborhood, like a B minus neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And so they wanted, I think they wanted 178, 180.
Mm-hmm.
And I went in there and offered them like I think 110, 120. Because the whole thing needed to be rebuilt. I mean, everything needed to come out and just throw it away and just hose it down and then, get rid of the mold and then rebuild it.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't take my offer. Some Chinese guy ended up buying it
Mm-hmm.
for, I think he got it for like 160, 150 cash. Is what he got it for. And then he ended up selling it for like 390. But he put about 120 into it.
Oh.
He put 120 into it. So there's deals out there, but you gotta be really careful.
Right.
And don't get over your head,
Mm-hmm.
especially when a lot of investors in the beginning don't have a lot of cash.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to try to work with what you got, right? So if you don't have the cash right now, then you gotta find hard money.
Mm-hmm.
You ever deal with hard money or private money?
I heard about it. Yeah.
You heard about it?
Mm-hmm.
So you gotta be able to deal with those, and I can give you some of their names and numbers and introduce you to some of those people as well.
All right.
Okay, but like these websites here, get familiar with them, play around with them. A lot of stuff I'm going to give you is very useful tools and very useful information, but you have to go through 'em and play around with them and kind of
Yeah, get familiarized.
get
with-
familiar with everything. Okay, so you got this one here, and got that one there. Now, what we're gonna do is, here you go, is
Oh, you got this one?
oh, you got that one. Yeah. When you find a property, right, and I'm gonna show you how to do this. Okay, in sales, you gotta keep in mind, people who are making money
Mhm.
are busy,
Mhm.
so they really don't have a lot of time. So you gotta be able to get your message across in the shortest amount of time as possible and try to get their attention as quickly as possible
Right.
with what they wanna hear, like now.
Okay.
They don't wanna hear a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
So what we've done here is this. If you look at your own stocks or
Yeah.
bonds, okay, so you get like if you did something with like TD Waterhouse or Scott's Trade or something like that,
Mhm.
you'll get like a statement,
Mhm.
and the statement shows you where your money is and what the money has been doing for you,
Right.
right? Either you made some money, you lost some money, whatever the fees were. So kind of like the same type of synopsis. Most investors have 30 seconds. You got 30, 45 seconds to be able to get your idea across. Why do you bother me? What do you want from me?
Mhm.
Right? So what we do is we take a picture of the house, right? Like this is a subject property that we are going to buy. Take a picture of the house. You give them enough information as they want to hear. How much you buying it for? I'm buying it for 121. How much you gonna put into it? I'm gonna put 50 into it. How much you gonna sell it for? I'm gonna sell it for 239. Okay, how many bedrooms? It's got 4. How many bathrooms? It's got 3. Okay, does it have parking? It's got off-street parking. It's got a driveway. Okay, how big is the lot? So they want to know information, the guts about the property. They want to look at the numbers. Is there enough money in here?
Mhm.
And then you want to be able to show them, if you're trying to raise money from investors,
Mhm.
and they want to know, why should I give you this much money? And what kind of return am I going to get on the money? And how long are you going to have my money?
Mhm.
So what we did with this particular property is we packaged it up and we said, okay, this is where we're buying it. This is what we're going to do to it. We're going to restore, already existing hardwood floors. We're going to put in new bathrooms. We're going to put a new kitchen. We're going to put in new countertops, crown molding, chair rail. This is what we're going to do to the property, and this is how we're going to exit the property.
Mhm.
We're gonna make sure the exit price is Marley price for a quick sale, because we want to keep turning the money. We don't want to get greedy.
Right.
Always be at the high end,
Mhm.
and we want to increase the sales price as a result of obtaining multiple offers. So when you are listing a property, you got two things. You can try to list the property at 300,000,
Mhm.
but if you know that the going neighborhood is like a 280, 290, 275 neighborhood, then you're gonna outprice your property because
Right.
it's too high. You're not gonna get too many people coming to it,
Right.
and the only people that may come to it are the local nosy neighbors that live in the area. They just want to see what you did to it,
Right.
but they got no intention of buying it.
Right.
But or if you know the neighborhood's 280, 290, then you could try to list it at 269.
Mhm.
Then you'll get a lot more traffic coming to there.
Right.
Okay, then you have a possibility of getting multiple offers,
Mhm.
and therefore you could maybe sell it for 279 because you got a bidding war.
Yeah.
But the main thing is to get the traffic
Right.
to come to the property, and then you never know, somebody's gonna be like, you know what, I really want this house, and you know what, let's just give them $10,000 more, or whatever the case is.
Mhm.
I've done that before. Like if I really want a house, like the house in Bowie, I knew the house was a great house, and they were asking 146 for the house. I offered them 155.
Mhm.
No, 154 is what I offered them.
Mhm.
I went above the asking price because they did have multiple offers, and they did have multiple cash investors, and I knew that. But I live in the neighborhood, so I knew what the property was going to be worth.
Mhm.
So therefore, I said, you know what, I really want this. So I went in on the front end. I went in more money on the front end, and I ended up getting it
Mhm.
on it. But then the thing is, it's like, you have to hedge your bet. It's like almost in a way you're betting, but you got to hedge your bet.
Mhm.
And how do you hedge your bet? With knowledge, and with experience, and with knowing and believing in yourself, and knowing that you're going to make this thing happen.
Mhm.
That's how you hedge your bet. So with this particular property, we went to an investor. We told him we needed this much money, and then for that particular investor, we created a promissory note and a deed of trust, and then they gave us the money for this, and then they were involved in this property. So when we sold the property, they were the bank. They got paid off at the end.
Right.
So normally these terms that we do here are usually 6 months long,
Mm-hmm.
but it takes us anywhere from 2 to 3 months to finish a property. Takes about a month and a half to actually go to settlement. So about a 4 to 5 month process. But just to be safe, you know, we do a note for 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of you keeping your money in PNC Bank or Wells Fargo, earning 1%, 2% on your money, you could take that money and put it in with us into one of our properties and earn a 10 to 12% interest rate on your money.
Right.
And it's secured with the promissory note and the deed of trust.
Right.
So if I die, something happens to me, you have this piece of paper that you are related to this property somehow, some way,
Mm.
and you have a vested interest in it, and you're gonna get your money out.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's collateralized by the house.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you'll learn how to do this too,
Mm-hmm.
because the thing is, let's say you go out there and you find 5 or 6 homes
Mm-hmm.
that are great homes, and they have plenty of money on the back end, and you're buying it right on the front end. Well, you gotta be able to create something like this and be able to go out and talk to 3, 4, 5 investors. You don't have to sell all your properties to me.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say you find 5 or 6,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, look, dude, I said, hold you, I can't buy anything else right now. My cash is tight, you know. And then let's say you take it to 4 other people, and somebody else buys it. Well, great,
Yeah.
you know, you make your money. Now, the way you make your money in this particular way, I'll pay you $4,000
Mm-hmm.
for every single property that you buy that I close on.
Mm-hmm.
So if you buy it, if you find it, and you qualify it, and you look at it, and you analyze the neighborhood, the geographic, the demographic, what kind of people live there, where's the public transportation, where's the grocery store, how can people get access to schools, how can people get access to public transportation. All these things are relevant information that makes the property the property.
Right.
So once you come back, like you said, here's the property, here's this, here's that, here's this, here's what we think we can sell it for. I went and looked at it, it needs $30,000-$40,000 of repairs. Here's the photos, boom, boom, boom. And then I'm like, okay, well, cool, let me go check it out. So I go check it out, look at it, I'm like, okay, he was right. So I end up buying it. When I buy it, and then what's gonna happen is we're gonna get a HUD-1. I got a copy of HUD-1 here somewhere. And then at the time of settlement, you'll get a check for $4,000 from the title company. And that's how this program works. Is called a property locator program. Now, let's say you've done 2 or 3 deals with me, and you got some cash, you got like $15,000-$16,000, and then you're like, okay, I want to partner with you. All right, well, cool. What's up? Well, I found this property. It needs this much money. I want to put in $16,000. I want to put in $20,000. Okay. Well, then you can have an equity partnership in that deal.
Mm-hmm.
So then we'll be able to partner together. Or you're like, hey, I found this property. I got this guy. He's got $50,000. He wants to put into it. Okay, well, then he'll be part of the Brickfront Property Investment Group.
Mm-hmm.
Then he'll earn. We'll create a promissory note, a deed of trust. We'll create all this stuff for him. Then he'll earn money on that money that he's put into the deal.
Right.
Okay, so, and then we'll be able to tell that person, we'll create a note, like a promissory note. His note will be for whatever dollar amount, and then all the terms are always 6 months, okay? And it's 26% annual,
Mm-hmm.
but it's 13%, 12% semi-annual,
Right.
okay? And then the date of maturity, you know, depends on when we actually do it. And then, you know, after 6 months, there's a balloon. You get all your money back plus your interest.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So we did this scenario based on 13%. And so we'll create something like this and send it out to people. And we'll tell them who the title company is, how the title will be held. You know, it'll be held in the Brickfront properties and the property's address. Like this is the property and this is the property's address. So we would hold the title under this particular manner.
Mm-hmm.
And then the person that gives us the money with the promissory note, the note would be tied to this property. So it'd be Brickfront Property / John Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So and then this is a neat little sheet to be able to give them, and then they could always go back to the website to look at who we are, what we've done, what we've completed, you know, why should they partner with us, why should they put their money with us. The thing is, everybody wants to know who these folks are.
Mhm.
And the key is, nobody wants to put up $50,000, $100,000 with just a stranger based on a good idea.